Hello everybody, I'm back. Seems like the test video worked, so let me go ahead and do another video right quick to see if it'll upload or not. I'm not sure, there's a fluke in the system. Excuse me. I don't like the little bulb showing. I gotta get this changed out on my nose ring. But anyway, I'm hoping this one goes through. This is one of the videos I tried to create last week and it wouldn't go through. And I was gonna title this The Irony of Life. Before I get to do that, if you would like, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my new channel and hit the like button if you're watching this video. And I thank you in advance for you doing that. I truly appreciate it. This is a new endeavor for me, so I'm kind of trying to take it a little bit more serious, not as the beefers. I'm not trying to get into any beefing and all of that. I don't have the mindset for that, but hopefully I have content that can be enlightening, encouraging, or just help you or give you a thought. The reason I call this the irony of life, I was thinking about this the other day, and it kind of crosses my mind every now and then how it's funny that I'm having to take care of my father at this point of my life. You know, he's totally disabled, blind, so he really can't do anything for himself. So it was funny the other day. I was thinking about our relationship. Um, and I'll have to go back and kind of give you a small history. When I was I think I was maybe 6, 7, or 8, I can't remember. But my father used to be abusive to my mother. Um, I didn't actually see the actual abuse, but um, I remember times when my mom would be crying in the bed in her bedroom. And this song, it'll be in my head till I die. The song by Aretha Franklin, "Do Right Woman, Do Right Man" song. That was always her go-to song. You know, she would cry. And some nights I would just be kind of sit down on the side of her bed and just, kind of hold her hand while she was crying or whatever. I didn't understand it or the purpose of it, but I would just do it because I felt bad for her. But anyway, there was an incident that happened, and I'm guessing he had been abusive maybe the first 4 or 5 years of my life because my other brother didn't come along until I was 5 years old. But um, he was, I'm not sure what happened, but I was asleep one night, and for some reason, the house that we lived in before this one, if I come out of my bedroom, my parents' bedroom was right next door. So I just walked out my room and then would go straight into their room. It was kind of fixed like that. Um, but one night I heard a big boom. Something hit the floor really hard. So I got up, and when I went into turn into their bedroom, my daddy was there, um, with blood everywhere, his guts hanging out. I'm just being honest. When my mom's standing over him with a knife, saying she'll kill him if he hit her again or something of that nature. And he was really, really drunk. I mean, this is the drunkest I've ever seen. To me, he was an alcoholic back then. Um, so he was screaming, "Look at what your mama did to me. Look at what she did to me." And I don't know, I was confused. I just didn't understand what was going on. I just know he was down there, with a 2 or 3 flesh wounds in his stomach. And she was standing over him with a knife saying, "I'll kill you if you hit me again. I'll kill you if you hit me again." Um, Let me throw this in right quick. You really need to be careful um, what you do around your children if you have little children, because they may not understand what's going on. Well, nowadays, kids are much, much smarter than we were. We I don't want to say came out, but when we were first born or growing up, it seems their mental capacity is a bit more mature than ours. I'm not trying to say we were dumb. I'm just saying kids are very intelligent nowadays, and they see a lot and they take in a lot. So please be careful of what you do or say around your kids. It's vitally important. This has stuck with me. I'm 60. Yeah, 59. I'll be 59 Christmas, but this has stuck with me all these years, and I never thought about it after the fact, until I got to this point of life in this stage of my life at this age. But anyway, Just please be mindful. The things that you say and do around your children, they do pick it up. They may never say anything to you about it, grandchildren, whoever, but they do pick it up, okay? Um, let's see. So it frightened me to a point, but I just didn't understand. So I don't know how we ended up at my aunt's house. My aunt, we ended up moving in with her. That's my mom's oldest sister. And she was more like a mother to my mother because her mother died when she was like 5. So we don't have any pictures. I don't know how my grandmother looks on my mother's side or anything like that. My mom was a child, kind of a baby, well, a child when she died. So, I don't know her or anything. So my aunt, my mom's sister, raised her. It was 10 of them, 5 girls and 5 boys, and she was the eldest of them. And she took care, for the most part, of my mom and my mom's baby sister. But anyway, I'm thinking, I guess my mom called her and told her what happened. And the next thing I know, we were packing, even packing dishes. And I'm guessing she came, and my uncle, her husband, came and picked us up. And we went to live with them. Now, we lived with them, I want to say a month at my aunt's house. I want to say we stayed with her and my uncle a month. And mind you, they already had 5 daughters of their own, so it was a little crowded, but it was safe. Does that make sense? It was really safe. And they were like my sisters, because we grew up together, so to speak. So it was like being with family, but in a happier environment. I put it that way. So I think about after that month, I'm not sure what happened, but my mom decided to go back to my father. So I don't know if that my aunt had to do anything with that or my daddy or his mother, because my grandmother on his side was still alive. But she decided to go back home or come back home to my father. And I told her I didn't want to go because it really did frighten me. I mean, I can't explain or put into words um, the fear, the fear of not knowing exactly what's going on, and the fear of that seeing that image on the floor, and then knowing I knew my father had done something because my mom kept saying, if you hit me again, I'll kill you. So that stuck with me, and that put fear in me regarding him. And at the same point, it also placed this barrier in my heart against him, against my father. So I just didn't want to come home. I didn't want to move back home. I didn't want to live with him. And that went well for about 2 weeks after my mom had moved back in. But then my aunt had a talk with me, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but you know, um, she eventually brought me back home, her and my uncle, and all that kind of stuff. And when I got back home, my father's mother, my grandmother, she was here. She was actually nursing my father back to health, and he was in the bed, with bandages and stuff on his side and stomach. She was cleaning his little wounds, I guess you could say. And so I went into the room because Mama said, go in and say hey to your daddy. When I went in there, he reached out his arms like he wanted to, hug me. And I didn't want to go, to be honest with you. There was just a block there at that moment. And so my mom said, go give your dad a hug. And so I walked over real slowly and gave, he hugged me and wrapped, whatever. But for me at that time, it was the worst feeling I've ever had. And it was almost as if I had to bury what I truly was feeling as far as what I could tell at that moment in order for me to get past that hug. You know what I'm saying? So from that moment on, our relationship, as far as I saw it, was never the same. He and I were never, after that point, we were never close at all, never. I didn't disrespect him or anything like that because, back in those days, we learned respect. And the parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles, they, I wouldn't say demanded it, but it was taught in us as children, educational purpose wise, to respect people. And the thing that's really funny about that is I grew up saying yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. And so that was just a part of my character because that's how I was trained. That's how I was brought up. I went to visit my eldest brother and sister because they had moved anyway, but I went to visit them, and every time I would say yes, sir. When certain people say something, I said yes, sir, yes, ma'am, And my brother and sister, you didn't gotta say that. You can say yes, 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 yes. And I said, but that's not how Mama raised us. And so that was so ingrained in me, out of respect, to say yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir, all of that. So let me go back. So we came back home, and things was just different. The one thing I give my father, which doesn't excuse the abuse at all. Um, he was a very good provider. I put it that way. Wasn't anything we ever wanted for or needed, because it was always there. Um, I mean, we just didn't need anything. My parents, as far as taking care of us, did an excellent job with providing for us. My mom was very keen on education, 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 because she was unable. She was in high school, but she had to drop out. I think she said her 10th or 11th grade during that time because her mother, she didn't have her mother by then. Her mother had already been passed away and all that, so she had to work. They had their own farm and their own things that they would sell, like fruits, vegetables, and all that. So they had to work in order to do, make money, because my mama's father, my grandfather, oh my God, he was a terrible alcoholic. Well, I put it this way. Yeah, he was a terrible alcoholic, and he was more raw than any other people that was in my life or that I knew, because he was the type of person, if he told you to be quiet and you didn't, or if anything like that went on, he was quick to pull out a gun or something on you. Now, he would never do it to us, but my mom and my aunt said he would do it to them in a minute. He was very hard on them, very, very, extremely hard. Um, in a way, to me, that was really bad, to have that type of fear for a parent. And the only positive thing I saw out of it, as far as when my mom was telling me about it, was the work ethic that they have. It's just awesome. I mean, my parents and my aunts and uncles, for the most part, believed in working. They worked hard and diligently, So that was, I guess, the good thing that came out of that. But um, I guess my mom and all of them grew up around in that environment, so I don't know if she was used to it or not used to it. But what she ended up doing, because she had to drop out of school, um, this whole time, education was very important to her for my siblings and I. So Christmas, my birthday, so I would get what we would get for Christmas. There were toys, but they weren't like dolls for my sister and all that. There were toys that were to teach you, like educational type toys. The it is a hear and say, see and say toys, and you had a clock that told time, help you to tell time. I remember we got building blocks with the alphabets on them. She would give us things like that, and we were happy with them. I mean, because we played with them, but there were things that would teach you, you know, alphabets, how to add, and all that kind of stuff. We got globes. I mean, we had educational stuff, but it was fun stuff. And I think 2 years, well, one year we all got bikes, so we were really glad about that. But let me go back. So I guess after I was able to get to a point where I was able to work and move out, I did. Because at that point, like I said, my relationship with my father was still strained, very much so strained, because I never got over that feeling of fear, and the fear I saw in my mom's face and the hurt. I just never got over it. So as soon as I was able to get a job and move, I did. So we stayed, I guess, for the most part, he and I never really sat down and talked or anything like that. I just didn't have the avenue or the mind or the will to do it. So, when I would visit, I would just speak hey and go talk to mom and all that, and just have conversations with her or something. Um, I just didn't have that father-son relationship. And I knew where it stemmed from, and I just didn't want to talk about it, just leave it alone. Uh, Nothing came out of it outside of my daddy didn't die. Um, no charges. What you call it? Press charges. There were no charges pressed against my mom. I don't know how that worked. Cause like back then, like I said, I was a child. Nowadays, they'll call somebody. They call the police. The hospital will call the police now if they suspect any type of abuse or something that went on. You come in with a stab wound or anything like that, they'll call the police. You won't have to. They will. So I'm not sure how all that worked back then, but that's what happened. So I finally got to a point where I could just speak and go on and keep going. So that went on most of my, well, it actually went on my elementary school, high school, college life, and then it just went on up to my work life. And by that time, I was so accustomed to it and used to it until it wasn't anything that I thought about or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? To me, as my life, that was the norm for me. And so that's how I operated. Um, it wasn't until about 6, 7, well, it was when mom passed, I think. Um, I was at a place where I guess it brought up those memories for some odd reason. And my brother would always say, well, mom lived a good life, which she did. Her passing was unexpected. But anyway, my daddy was just lost because I didn't realize my daddy couldn't handle certain things. And my mom always took care of those things, like paying the bills. Uh, he would give her the money. Like I said, he was a great provider, so he would give her the money and all of that. But our school clothes, whatever for Christmas, everything that dealt with anything purchasing for the house or for us, she took care of that. So I didn't realize my father didn't know. Not well, no, he didn't know how to do all that because all he did was work and brought home his money. Oh, and the good thing about that, I was saying about my mom, she ended up going back to school. She got her GED, and matter of fact, I helped her with the math questions and things of that nature. Then she went to nursing school and got a nursing degree. So it was just important for her to have her own money, her own career, her own job, and all of that. So we were very happy and proud of her that she did that, to see our mom go back to school and get her GED, then turn around and go to college and get a nursing degree. And so she worked as a nurse until she retired for 30 years. But that was a blessing. But anyway, we when she passed, my father was kind of staying by himself at that point. Um, and he would make little comments as far as him being by himself and all of that. And he didn't have anybody. And I would just say, Daddy, you do have. I mean, you've got 7 kids. I mean, he said, yeah, but my mom's gone. My grandmother had passed. His sister, my aunt, had passed. And his only brother, my uncle, had passed. So in essence, he really didn't have anybody as far as his birthing family because my grandfather had passed, my grandmother, his only sister, and only brother. So I kind of understood, but there was still that block there. I still couldn't fathom being anywhere near him as far as like a relationship because we never had it. We never talked. So he went to an appointment one day to the doctor. Come to find out, um, he had blockages in his heart and he would have to have open heart surgery, quadruple bypass. And so he called and asked he called and asked if I can go to the appointment or take him. I said, sure. Because by that time I had moved back home. I was living somewhere else. I got content, people. It's just so much I got to write down. But my mind is coming back as I talk to you. And prayerfully I'll get to it. But I ended up coming back home after I found out he had the doctor's appointment. And I said, well, I will go visit and I will just take like a vacation and then come see him, take him to the doctor and make sure all that's okay. Well, the day we went to the doctor and he had the test done on his heart, they didn't discharge him. They admitted him at that moment and said he had to have a quadruple bypass because of the issues they found with the scans that they had done on his heart. And so I had to call people in Indianapolis, well, people in another state, I put it that way, let them know what's going on my job. They're very understanding. So he actually stayed in the hospital 3 days, and then they did the surgery on the fourth day. Um, by then, there's a lot of things going on I had to find. He had to go to a rehab facility for therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. All of that had to be done. So he had to have somebody here because somebody needed to help pay bills and all that. So I job hunted while here and found out a job, and I relocated back home to be here with him. So after he got kind of through with all that, with the open heart surgery and all of that, he had a stroke. Then the stroke took him down more. He was paralyzed on his whole right side, and again, that was an issue. That was hard because at that point, that's when he began needing a little assistance. Now, the open heart surgery, he didn't need a lot, but with the stroke, he did need assistance. So um, that weighed heavy on me for some reason as far as his care. Because again, we weren't that tight. We weren't really talking. I would just make conversation so he wouldn't be by himself. I thought that was a nice thing to do or the right thing to do, so that's what I did. Um, After that, let me put a plug. Nursing homes, I will never. That's why I'm here at home too again. Nursing homes, they are terrible because my father had to go to rehab. And the rehab facilities that were available, they were also combined with the nursing home. So it was a nursing home and rehab facility all in one building. And he had to do that for like 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. I can't remember. It was 4 to 6 weeks. And my God, I got sick every time I walked through the nursing home door, the smell and all of that. It was just like, wow. Then he didn't have a TV in the room, and the man in the room with him was completely bedridden, so it was always a smell. It wasn't the man's fault. He couldn't help it. He was disabled, but they were understaffed. It was too many patients, and they were just understaffed, and I just couldn't. I after that incident or after that experience, I said, well, I realized how much I loved him to a point. I said, I would, if he ever get out of here, come through this rehab situation, I will never put him back in another nursing home, and I meant that. But anyway, once got home and got that situated, and I started paying the bills and stuff. He was doing something I can't remember because he tried to do some little exercises. He was paralyzed still, but he would do a little. He could walk some and do little things. His brain was intact and all of that, but he fell and he broke his hip. And now, when he broke his hip, there was another situation, like all these little setbacks and setbacks. Every time I put my mind to where I wanted to just, kind of move or kind of just get my own place again and all that, just, I'm a person who really needs their space. I really do need my space. That's why I don't have a lot of people in my life at this point. I can't deal with this crowded thing or the smothering thing, or, I have to be in a frame of mind to just be around people like that. So I really struggled with that. So I said, okay, I'll just stay here. Because at that point, he really needed help. Because consider he had the stroke, he had the heart surgery, now he fell and had hip replacement, and that really messed him up. So as time went on, it got worse and worse and worse. And then we got to the place where we are now, where he couldn't walk, anything, like everything is down in the bed. You got to turn him. It just got really bad. But it hit me the other week. And I thought about it, and I said, isn't it funny? The one person in your life, I'm not going to use the word hate, but this the one person you didn't get along with or you didn't connect with. Out of all the people who have to be here for that person, it's me. Because all of my other siblings, they didn't have I think they had an issue, but they were able to, I guess you say, play it off, so to speak, because see, all of them, it's 7 of us. All of them live out of state and got families as well, for the most part, and doing their own thing. But I noticed when I thought about it, I said, none of them ever call him and check on him or anything like that. And I wonder why? Because it seemed like to me, all of them got along with him much better than I did. Um, but to this day, they don't call and check on him or anything like that. But that's another story. So I got a lot of stories. Then it may not be very interesting, but I got some. But anyway, I was thinking about it the other day. Isn't it funny how life sometimes just guides your own path? You're not aware of it, but you're guided a certain way to do certain things that you thought you were unable to do, or not so much unable, unwilling to do. And I said, look at me. He and I were not close. We didn't talk. he doesn't know me, and I really don't know him outside of doing the things we needed as kids and all that, and working hard and all that. And I said the two people who didn't really connect are the two people who's trying to connect now. Because I try to connect with him now, and um, it's it's been, I don't want to say difficult. It's just been strange because it's like I'm trying to learn this person that I just really never knew, and to a point didn't know. And so here I am at 59, learning my father after all these years. Isn't that amazing? That's the irony to me, that he and I just didn't connect. And because of that disconnect, though, I'm here connecting. Does that make sense? Out of all the people that got along with him and all that, none of them are around, but the one person who didn't want to have anything to do with him or anything, I'm here. So that's why I titled this video, The Irony of Life, and how things go so unexpectedly. You never thought. There are things you say I would not do or I couldn't do that you can do, because you find yourself becoming, as you grow older, you become wiser, and I won't say you become soft, but you become more compassionate and understanding of other people. And then you kind of work things out in your head and you realize things sometimes are not what it seems, or maybe it is, and there's some issues you need to work through in order to live your own life, to free yourself, to live, to be happy, um, and to have a full life. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but so it gets frustrating extremely, and it becomes hard, but I'm learning my father, and he's learning me. Um, we do clash, but it's nothing. I wouldn't disrespect him or anything like that. So, but it's just it's ironic to me that the one person I didn't get along with, or I didn't connect with, or didn't have any kind of relationship with, I'm the one that's having to take care of that person and be here for that person, and literally live his life for him in this house. Isn't that amazing? To me, that's amazing. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope it records and uploads and processes. Thank you for listening, those who do listen. Please, again, hit the subscribe button for me if you like the video. Like it for me. If you have any comments, please do, good or bad. I can handle it. I'm not a beefer. Let me tell you that up front. I don't believe in that beefing. So I refuse to even get into that realm of thought, because that's still going on. And the stuff is crazy. I just don't see. That's another video. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening to me and my life and my thoughts. Have a blessed night or day or afternoon.